Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. It's episode 296 on Thursday, July the 23rd, the year of our Lord 2020, broadcasting here on America's Voice.News, on Newsmax TV later on in the day, on the John Fredericks Radio Network, the ever-expanding John Fredericks Radio Network, and blown through the CCP's firewall, G News and GTV, subtitled in Mandarin, so the ordinary Chinese people can get a hold of everything that we're talking about on this show as well. This is hashtag War and Pandemic, and we have Jack Posobiec, One American News, sticking on the line with us. Governor Eric Greitens in studio here as well. Jack Maxey and Raheem Kassam. It's all our show now, guys. That Stephen K. Bannon has left the building. Got that shuffleboard final today, so you know, gotta warm up. Guys, we've got a lot of things to cover here, but Jack Maxey, I want to throw it over to you first because you've got some very special announcements for the War Room audience.
Well, as our audience knows, we've been talking about hydroxychloroquine and some of these alternative medicines that since day one, really. And when the history of this whole pandemic is written, this disaster put upon the whole world by the Chinese Communist Party, there are going to be some heroes. Amongst them are going to be a great American, a doctor named Zev Zelenko, and I want all of our audience to say some prayers for this great man today. He is going into the hospital. His cancer has returned. He has a tumor that is going to be removed from one of his valves on his heart today. But I heard him speak yesterday. He's not afraid. This is a man with great courage. He's a lover of humanity. He's put his neck out on the line. We had him on the show on April 24th, and to let you know what kind of man this is, what kind of character he is, because I think he's could be inspirational, particularly for a lot of young people. I'd like to play that clip from April 24th, if we could, please.
I think we're just still waiting for that to get teed up here.
Well, I can keep speaking till it comes.
Well, I think we got it. Let's roll.
With them, or because of the negative PR, because of the litigious nature of the society. So there's a lot of obstacles in using these drugs. The only thing is, none of it matters to me. I'll tell you why. Two years ago, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and I lost my right lung. It was called pulmonary artery sarcoma. It has 100% death rate. And for some reason, I'm still around. Doesn't make sense. So I'm looking at life from the other world in. I had already said goodbye to my children, essentially, emotionally. So when someone goes through that and is on the razor's edge of life and death, so then you realize that's really important. So I have no fear except for God. I really learned how to think outside the box. I actually developed my own treatment, believe it or not. And I realized it's not me, it's God. So, there's a saying from one of my mentors that he was being tortured by the KGB, and they took out a gun and they put it to his head and they said, this gun has made many people talk. So he answered them, maybe someone who has one world and many gods, but someone who has one God and two worlds, it's ineffective.
A genius. Okay, let me ask. I mean, this is the kind of guy he is. This is the kind of thing we expect out of American men. We expect you to be fighters. We expect you to be risk takers. And we expect you to be protectors of the people who need to be protected. Zev Zelenko is one of those guys, and it was very important to him to get his study completed, which he did a few weeks ago, and also because he knew he was going back into the hospital, he wrote a letter to the president, and I'd like to share that with the audience today. Dear President Trump, when I saw you pray at the Western Wall in Jerusalem, I sensed your sincerity and knew that God would help you lead us. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic is causing debilitating anxiety among the American people, and the continuing state-by-state shutdowns are devastating the finances of most working men and women. But there is an alternative. In the last 4 months, my team successfully treated thousands of COVID-19 patients in an outpatient setting. My treatment protocol is identify high-risk patients, treat as early as possible after the onset of symptoms, ideally within the first few days, and treat with zinc, hydroxychloroquine, and azithromycin. In addition, prophylaxis with zinc and hydroxychloroquine should be considered for all high-risk individuals, e.g. nursing home residents, medical professionals, and first responders. My team's results are documented in a recently published scientific paper. Also in early June, several other positive clinical studies documenting high-CQ treatment obtained similar results, such as the Henry Ford study. With these, you should have the scientific basis and political cover to take action. When my clinical approach is implemented on a national scale, it will make America healthy again, and it will expedite the reopening of the economy. With the reopening, we should expect a resurgence of COVID-19. However, this can be effectively managed with my clinical approach. To facilitate making America healthy again and the widespread use of my clinical protocol, please consider taking the following 4 actions. Action, 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 as we always say, people. All state regulations that obstruct access to HCQ must be removed, restoring the primacy of the doctor-patient relationship. 2, doctors and pharmacists must not be sanctioned for prescribing and dispensing HCQ to patients. 3, the federal government must ensure adequate supply and efficient distribution of HCQ. And 4, the option for prophylaxis with zinc and HCQ should be offered to high-risk individuals. The American people will be grateful to you for helping us survive this crisis of biblical proportions. In the past, you have followed your instincts, and it has always served you well. Please, today, let God guide you, follow your instincts, and take actions. With blessings for success and all of the above, and for you and your family, continued long life and good health with much admiration, Vladimir Zev-Zelenko, MD. Ladies and gentlemen, this man, this American patriot, right now is under the knife in an extremely serious surgery. He is fighting for his life, and I want everybody to say a prayer for him. We should all be proud that this great melting pot of America has men like Zev Zelenko in it.
Absolutely, Jack, and thank you so much for bringing that important letter and important news from the War Room today. And I'm just so grateful and taken aback by all of you guys in the live comments right now. So many people just putting their prayers up for Dr. Zelenko, and we're really grateful for it. While we still have Jack Posobiec on the line as well, I want to pivot now to the carnage taking place all across the United States. It's something that, my favorite kind of shows, ladies and gentlemen, the ones where we throw out the show clock. After the A block, we realize just how great it is to have Governor Greitens in here and Jack Posobiec on the line, and we get so consumed by what we're talking about and all the different elements of it. And Vish does such a great job at the America's Voice team and all the other production staff in bringing us all the best clips from the day before, the clips that the CNNs, as you see, of the world behind me don't bring you and don't show you and don't give you proper analysis about. So we get caught up, and so we're into the second hour going into this American carnage. So I want to bring Jack Posobiec in on this first. Jack, we talked about this a little yesterday. You've been on the show before talking about this. You were actually in the Chaz. I believe you were the U.S. ambassador to the Chaz for a short amount of time. Jack, tell us where we are right now with all this carnage, because I watched that press conference yesterday in the White House, and I felt a sense of relief wash over me watching these incredibly competent people getting up there and saying, you know what, to these Democrat mayors, you know what, the carnage is going to end very quickly. Jack Posobiec.
Yes, I can understand why it would give you a tingle up your leg, like Chris Matthews there in the past. But no, in all seriousness, I actually got a text message when the president was giving out that press conference yesterday with Bill Barr and officials from DHS, Chad Wolf, etc., talking about the carnage in American cities, what's been going on through this. It really is a summer of rage that we're experiencing throughout 2020. Crime rates on the rise in terms of homicides and shootings, children being shot. Actually, the family of one child who had been killed was there at the White House talking about the support for this. It's a federal law enforcement augmentation to what goes out in the cities. And keep in mind that cities already do, every major city already has a federal presence there. What they're doing is simply augmenting this presence with extra officers in places where they see it need to be. One of the areas they rolled it out was Kansas City. They're also moving to Chicago now. They talked about Albuquerque. I got a text message actually during the press conference from an NYPD police officer, and he said, Jack, I've been waiting for this press conference for a long time. This is something that the men and women out there, the thin blue line, it really is a thin blue line, folks. There's not a lot of these guys. There's not a lot of these women. There's not a lot of these people. And it's their job to provide law and order. You know, to paraphrase the quote, you know, they have to be a diplomat and a social worker and a counselor and a lawyer and everything else all within a split second. And they have to get it right 100% of the time. And obviously that's a standard, a very, very high standard that they're held to. And when there are problems, those problems are dealt with. And I think that's right. And so having the president basically get up there and say, not only do I have your back, but I'm going to be giving you federal resources. And anyone who's worked in a large company or worked in the government at the federal level, I've been at the federal level. Governor, of course, has experience at pretty much every level of government. You understand that it comes down to resources. There's one thing for a president to say something, and Barack Obama was great at this. He was great at, you know, he'd give these flowery speeches, but he wouldn't actually commit resources and allocate funds and personnel to these issues. Instead, he waged a lawfare, in many cases, his Department of Justice, on the thin blue line. And you saw the same kind of violence be inflamed 2015, 2016. Now that it's coming across in President Trump's administration, and you saw actually a question yesterday at the White House, not that press conference, but later, asking, how is this different from your response to when Barack Obama was in office to when you're in office? And I think the big difference is the reaction. We are now going to see a federal reaction to be able to work to quell not only the violence that we've seen across the cities in terms of these shootings and these horrific murders, but also there, and you're seeing the scenes up of Portland, of these siege warfare tactics against, it's called the Justice Center. Right? This is the federal courthouse. Our rule of law is the backbone of our republic. And if we give that up, if we stop protecting the rule of law, then we're going to go back to a situation that I was witness to firsthand, infiltrated 3 days, 3 nights in this Chaz autonomous zone in Seattle, which led to murders. It led to murders of black teenagers, people being shot up late at night, people being assaulted, people being attacked. That is not the road anybody wants to go down. So I commend the president for what he's doing. And for folks like Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, who I struggle to call him a mayor because it didn't look like he was leading his city. What it looked like he was doing is last night going out there with these protesters, these rioters, as the fires are being set behind him. They're trying to set fire to this courthouse as they've been doing for 54 nights at this point. And he's saying that he saw no problem, and he saw that it was peaceful, and he said that it was an egregious response for the federal authorities to use tear gas there. People are calling, and yet he himself was called by these members of Antifa a fascist. He was called Tear Gas Ted. They threw him out. That is what appeasement gets you, Mayor Ted. And so I really hope that, if anything, even though he had tear gas in his eyes, I'm hoping that his eyes were open last night.
Well, Jack Posobiec, the shortest ever serving U.S. ambassador to the Chaz, thank you so much for joining us here on War and Pandemic today as well. Really appreciate your insights into all of that. We've got to go to a quick break now, but when we come back, I want to get Eric Greitens in on this, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam. I want to get you guys in on it at home as well. If you have something to say, observations, recommendations, criticisms, comments, compliments, Hashtag War Room Pandemic is the way to get through to us on Parler, on Twitter, on the YouTube live chat, on the Facebook live chat. We are all eyes and ears. Make sure you're also signed up to the newsletter at pandemic.warroom.org. And guess what I just bought, gentlemen? allianceofliberty.com. It's now mine. We return in a moment.
Tired of struggling with regular mirrors that don't adjust so you can't get close enough? Need both hands but you don't have a stand? Can't move in the right direction to see your own reflection? You need Flexible Mirror, the bendable, light-up magnification mirror that comes to you. Watch. Just stick it on and turn the base. The super suction locking mechanism means you can put it on any smooth surfaced place, horizontal or vertical. Lock it onto any mirror, table, or desk. Use it in the shower, even on a window. The secret is Flexible Mirror's super strong articulating arm that's attached with an ingenious ball and socket so it can swivel and rotate for the perfect angle. And look how strong it holds. The mirror is precision crafted with 10 times magnification and crystal clear optics. And with a soft glow LED ring, you'll get picture-perfect lighting to highlight every detail. Flexible Mirror makes shaving, applying makeup, hairstyling, grooming, and accessorizing easier than ever before. Plus, men, listen up. The 10 times magnification makes it perfect for giving your beard a detailed trim. Whatever you need to do, Flexible Mirror comes to you. Plus, the contemporary chrome accents add a lovely modern touch to any room. Stop struggling to put in your delicate contacts and let Flexible Mirror come to you, so it's much easier to do. Similar mirrors can cost as much as $100, and they don't even come to you. But you can get Flexible Mirror for the special TV discount price of just $19.99. We guarantee you'll love the Flexible Mirror so much that it comes with our 90-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee. And here's the best part. We give you free shipping on your entire order. That's right, free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-987-6183. That's 1-800-987-6183 or order online at tryflexiblemirror.com.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Well, I said to the president that I understand the issues in New York City, and there are issues in New York City, as there are in many cities across the country. And if there was a need, the state would step in, which is the normal protocol, governmental protocol. And I was ready, willing, and able to step in. But I think the federal involvement, there's no justification for it, and it would be counterproductive. And the president said we would talk before he did anything. So that was a very good conversation. But look, the president's concerns about New York City were well-founded. There are issues in New York City. You put COVID on top of the unrest after the George Floyd murder, et cetera. There's been an increase in crime. So I get the concerns, but I don't believe federal troops are the answer.
Governor Greitens, I want to bring you in on this now. We heard from Jack Posobiec in the last segment about the federal response to what's going on all across America. When you hear, and by the way, did Governor Cuomo breach his exclusivity deal with his brother in terms of giving interviews there? But I can't help myself.
He had to ask Mom.
Yeah. Oh, producer Vish. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say, the big question for me was, remember Cuomo went down to Georgia the other day to give them a heads up about how to run a pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
he declared a 14-day quarantine for anybody traveling from the state of Georgia. I guess, as always, the rules do not apply to Governor Cuomo.
Governor Groutons, when you hear that, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
First, I think what's so disturbing when you listen to Cuomo, what's so disturbing when you listen to the mayor of Chicago, when you see the mayor of Portland, is that they are failing their citizens. People are dying. This federal operation, Operation Legend, is named after a 4-year-old child who was murdered in the city of Kansas City. When people talk about murder rates going up, these are individual families where kids are being killed across the country. Absolutely, you have to have the president stepping in because of the failure and the cowardice and the complicity of mayors and governors who are not doing their job. I can tell you, when I was governor of Missouri in 2017, Antifa came to Missouri. And they said, your listeners will remember, Ferguson happened in Missouri before I was governor. And the Antifa said, we're going to burn Missouri down. We're going to make it so bad you're not even going to remember Ferguson. Because we had an incident where a police officer, Jason Stockley, had shot and killed an African-American man, Anthony Lamar Smith, on duty. And they said, we're going to come, and unless this police officer is found guilty, we're going to burn the city down. And here's what we did. I came out, and we brought together clergy, we brought together police lieutenants, and we said very clearly, we said, look, the Constitution protects everyone's rights to protest, protects everyone's rights to freedom of speech. And I said, and what you will find tomorrow morning is that when this verdict comes down, if you're out protesting, the police will be out protecting people who are peacefully protesting. But I also said very clearly, throwing a brick through a window is not free speech. And if you assault a police officer, you are going to be arrested. And we brought everybody together. We had the State Highway Patrol. We had the National Guard. I worked with the local police chiefs. We coordinated with all of them. We worked with federal intelligence resources. We talked to the U.S. Attorney. We brought everybody together. And you know what? After 3 days, they broke through some windows. They overturned some potted plants, but we shut it down with a very clear message. The incredible tragedy of this is that lives are being lost. People are being killed, and it is unnecessary. If you have governors and mayors who are willing to act with courage, you can save lives. It's a basic responsibility, and they're failing their citizens.
It's weird that I want to congratulate you for that, because that is just how it should be.
It's how
right?
it should be.
I mean,
this is common sense stuff.
Right.
And all of your listeners and 98% of Americans would say, you know what, that's right. People are upset. Whether they're right or wrong, I agree with them or disagree with them, everybody has the right to freedom of speech. Everybody has the right to freedom of assembly. They should be able to exercise that right peacefully. But you know what? When you have, like you do in the St. Louis, Missouri, a circuit attorney who lets looters loose, or the same thing in Kansas City, Missouri, when people who are engaged in prayer are brutally assaulted and attacked, and you have video of it, and they won't charge people, it creates this atmosphere of lawlessness. And then what happens? When there's an atmosphere of lawlessness, criminals become bolder. They take more action, and lives are being lost. You know, I've got a 4-year-old son and a 5-year-old son, right? And I'd ask all of your listeners, like, let's just pause for a minute. Think about what this is like when people are losing their kids, who are being shot and killed, and it is unnecessary. It is a cowardice problem, and I'm glad that the president is stepping up and taking action.
Jack, did you have anything on this?
I'm in complete agreement, and I think one of the things that's so important here, so many of these deaths that occur inside of our urban cities are never solved. And this is one of the problems, and I remember Legend's mother last night said at the press conference, I thought it was very powerful. She said one of the things that we have to do in our communities, we have to start cooperating with the police. Yes. We have to start identifying these people who have committed these murders. Yes. We can't all live in fear while our children are being killed. And this, to me, is key. One other thing I think it's important that we bring up, because we always talk about our rights. Let's remember what the First Amendment of the Constitution says. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. When I look out on the street, I don't see anybody peaceably assembling. And now let's take a look at our rights and think about what we've suffered over these last several months. We've had almost 2 months now of Biden riots out in the streets. We're being forced to go into another lockdown because, surprise, people under 40 are all infected with the COVID-19 virus because of their irresponsibility that leftists defined as a constitutional right. I wasn't able to take communion for 2 months. I was not able to go to church for 2 months. There are speech police destroying the lives of people all over this country, from the New York Times down to a kid who made a bad comment on his Facebook page. We need to take this country back, and we need to remember what our rights are based upon. Okay? Our rights come from God. They don't come from the decision of some crazy Democrat mayor who decides riots are constitutionally protected, but going to church is not, that speaking your mind is not protected. We are watching people's lives be destroyed through the manipulation of what these morons in the street call your constitutional rights. I want everybody who took an oath to remember it and start taking that Constitution back and start applying it.
Yeah. And they need to. People need to remember how difficult it is to be a police officer. You guys have talked about this before, and need to get behind the police officers. You saw what was happening in Chicago, right, where these police officers are being assaulted in Grant Park. You see it in Portland. In the city of St. Louis, we had 4 police officers shot in one night. Retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn shot and killed. Lives are being lost. All of these men and women also have families, and they are staying up every night wondering whether or not their police officer, husband or wife, is actually coming home, whether their police officer, mom or dad, is actually coming home. They need to be supported, and we have got to have leaders at the mayors, governors who stand up with courage to support the police.
I want to get now into. I want to get your thoughts on this. This couple who defended their homes and their lives. I mean, I've followed this in as much as anybody can, watch their interviews, read about the story. I just cannot comprehend, like, what are they? What is the law they have said to have broken, or the spirit of the law they have said to have aggrieved? I do not understand it.
Well, first of all, let's keep in mind who Kim Gardner is, who's going after them. Kim Gardner is a George Soros-funded prosecutor. He funded over 70% of her campaign.
Wow.
And in Kim Gardner, the radical left is getting what it paid for. So this is a woman who lets looters loose. When arson happens, when businesses are being burned, no one is charged. We talked about people engaged in peaceful prayer being assaulted and attacked on video. No one is charged. That's Kim Gardner. She creates this environment of lawlessness. She doesn't prosecute people who commit murder. She is a terrible leader. She is actually sowing destruction and mayhem in the city of St. Louis. So first of all, she creates these conditions. She's gone after the police repeatedly. So she creates this environment. She creates these conditions. And then when you have a family that's coming out just to defend themselves, she turns and wants to prosecute them. And everyone recognizes that under the Missouri Castle Doctrine, you have the right to defend yourself, your family, your property. But this is what she's spending time doing. And I can tell you, I was on the streets last Monday night. I was having a piece of pizza at a place that's just down the street from a pretty well-known block in St. Louis at Lindell and Grand, one of the nicest blocks in St. Louis. 15 to 25 semi-automatic gunshots rang out. My buddy, who's a special operations fire department captain, he jumped in the passenger seat with me. We grabbed our weapons and our med kits, and we made it up to the scene. First guys on the scene, and we started working on the first casualty, had multiple gunshots. Then moved over to the second casualty, again, multiple gunshots. 2 lives were lost. These were good kids. 20 and 21 years old, not a parking ticket between them. murdered in broad daylight in the city of St. Louis at a prominent corner because of the lawlessness of the left.
I want to make sure we get back to this in the D block of this show as well. In the next segment, we have another guest coming on as well, and Jack Max is going to take the helm and steer us for the next segment here on War Room Pandemic. But I want to make sure we get back into that because it's extraordinarily important. Hashtag War Room Pandemic. By the way, the crowd loves you. You're getting A-star feedback here in the live chat. War Room Pandemic returns in just a moment.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain, and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something. If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it. Absolutely. Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit. Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete. Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good. That's what I've been saying. You think it was fair? It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
Jim and Joanne are here to pick up the same prescription. They both know the system is not on their side. They both know drug costs are out of control. But one of them is taking back control with GoodRx.
Next.
So while he's paying that much, even with his insurance, she's paying this much just by using GoodRx. Use GoodRx to compare prices at pharmacies in your area and stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today and take back control.
I sent your new prescription to the pharmacy. Any idea how much it will cost? You have a choice. Insurance or GoodRx? I have insurance. Insurance is not what it used to be. People struggle to get their prescriptions covered, and prices keep rising. I recommend GoodRx. You get free coupons to save on your prescriptions. Compare prices to find the best discounts.
GoodRx. Smart.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Well, 2020 has been a gut punch to American business, and if you're going to succeed, you need every possible advantage. Smart companies run on NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. Get your free guide right now at netsuite.com/Bannon. netsuite.com/Bannon. You're back in the war room. I want to hand it over now to Jack Maxey.
Well, our audience always loves to know that we bring you the news before the rest of the world brings it to you. And we've been talking about the Three Gorges Dam in China, but there's another dam that's going up along the Nile River in Ethiopia that threatens sort of the stability for Egypt, which gets almost all of its drinking water and fresh water for crops, etc., from the Nile. Also Sudan. This has been a developing story over the last year or so and was looking like it was coming to a bit of a crisis. And then the African Union got together on the 21st and had a discussion about how we're going to deal with this going forward. It's an interesting situation, and Ethiopia wants the water for irrigation, and they also want to become a large power generator, exporter to Sudan and that part of the world. But it's a sticky situation. Water rights are something that people can often get in the crossways over, and we're very honored to have today the Honorable Mustafa El-Gindi, who is a member of the Egyptian and the African Parliament, and he's going to tell us what's going on, because it does look like it's calming down, but for a while here we were a bit worried about the tension. Mustafa, thank you so much for having us, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with you. And before anything, I just want to thank you for having me. And secondly, I want to say that for everybody who's listening to us, just Google Egypt and Google Ethiopia, and you see the colors. Egypt is 95% desert, and almost 5 to 7% is green with the River Nile. We live on the bank of this Nile for the last 5,000 years. We live on the same spot, the same space. And I just want to ask everybody, just Google and know yourself how many rivers there is in Egypt, how many rivers there is in Ethiopia, how many days of rain, 5 days of rain in Egypt, how many days of rain in Ethiopia. Then you can start knowing the need of every country for water. Water in Egypt, we call it God. God is Hapi. Hapi is our God since the Pharaoh's time is the Nile, because it's our only source of life. And we can ask ourselves another question. Why for the last 5,000 years, even the years of the colony, of the British colony of Egypt, Sudan, and old Africa, why never ever there was a dam on this river? Because making a dam on this river, you are risking life of 100 million Egyptians who live with only one source, which is the Nile. What happened? What happened is that after our revolution in 2011, when we threw up Mubarak, and Ethiopia started building a dam. I and the people of the revolution of Tahrir Square at that time, and I was one of these guys, we went to Uganda and Ethiopia, and we said, let us finish our revolution. Let us have a deal that can do not touch the life of Egyptians and who can bring electricity for Ethiopia. And at that time, there was the Prime Minister, Ms.L. And we agreed on that, and we said, we don't know nothing. We don't trust politicians. We want engineers who will tell us if this dam will harm Egypt. We agreed on that engineers will come and tell the Egyptians this dam will harm you or not. What happened after the death of Malik Zenawi, that everything went to zero, but Sisi came to power in Egypt because we threw out the Muslim brother who came to power for 1 year, and I was at Tahrir Square to throw these guys out of Egypt. Sisi started 9-year negotiation with Ethiopia while Ethiopia was building the dam, which shows that Sisi didn't want war, don't want war. He wants a deal, a real deal, an international deal, a deal that say that this river who goes between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt is the river, an international river who flowed there for 5,000 years. It's not the river of anyone, it's the river of all of us together. And when you do the dam, you fill it, like Egypt say, in 7 years, not in 2 years like that. We do not have a shortage of water. We want a deal. There was a deal made by the Brits when we were all colonized. That deal said that no one on the sources of the Nile do any project on the river Nile who can stop water from flowing to Egypt because Egypt had one source. Even when we were colonized by the same colonizer, they made the engineering work and said if any project happens on the Nile, Egypt can die. I sent you some pictures to see our canals. Our canals are empty. We are using water 2 times. We were pushed by this dam, which financed big time by the Chinese. Big time by the Chinese. We were pushed to go and to get nuclear power projects with Russia to make the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, into a sweet water. We were pushed to do things. we need that water. We are already 50% under what the United Nations said water poverty. Then for us, it's a matter of life. We understand that Ethiopia needs electricity. We understand that all Africa needs electricity. I'm a member of parliament who talks in the name of all Africa. I believe that there is a partnership that we have to do, not a colonization. We have things. You guys have things. You have knowledge. I have raw material. We can make a deal. We can work together. We can be rich together. We can live together. Everyone in his continent. I'm happy in my continent. I don't want to immigrate nowhere in the world away from my family. Then don't make
Mustafa,
a dam who will make me leave Egypt and immigrate and move all the way to look for water, because if not, I'm going to die. You don't die if you don't have electricity. You die if you don't have water.
Okay, I just want to ask you a quick question. They're talking about now that they were filling it up already, and they made the claim last week that that was actually just excess rainwater that was showing up behind the dam, that they weren't really filling it up. I mean, I know there's a dispute as to whether or not they're going to take 10% of the water every year to fill it up. And I know there was a question, Egypt was saying they wanted 42 billion cubic meters of water to be released every year, and they were saying they would give you 31. After the meeting with the African Union on the 21st, how do things stand today? Because it seems when you read the letter from the Egyptian Prime Minister that it looks like it's moving in a good direction.
Actually, what we are saying for the last 9 years, that we are ready to negotiate with anybody, with the African Union. African Union, we are negotiating for the last 9 years. African Union just arrived when Egypt went to the Security Council. Of course, we do respect the African Union. We do respect. Why did we go to America? Why Sisi went to Trump and said, please help us to solve this problem. Bring us the engineers, bring us people who can tell us this dam is going to harm Egypt or not. Why Ethiopia didn't want to sign? We are negotiating for the last 9 years. We don't want war. We want to live. We need water. We cannot live without water. Please Google Egypt. It's desert. It's 95% desert. We need water. If you will fill the dam without a deed, an obligatory deed for everybody, witnessed by the big brother, America, or big guys, the big guys in this world, witnessing this deal, and we have a deal that we can give to our kids, and everybody respects the deal, it's fine for us. Make the dam, get the electricity. But if you say, it's my river, I make a dam, and the water is mine, you are killing me, and I have the right to defend myself. I will defend myself like I did for the last 6,000 years. I defended my existence. I never left my borders to go and attack nobody in the history of the pharaohs, but we defended our existence. We defended ourselves. Yeah, I'm saying to all my brother in Ethiopia, don't forget, by the banks of the Nile in Egypt, Jesus and the Virgin Mary hid it, and they prayed for us. They prayed that God protect us because we saved them. We didn't put Jesus on the cross. We hid Jesus in Egypt. We are his friends. God loves us. That's why we live.
Mustafa,
that's why you teach your kids in school. Egypt.
We're coming up on a bit of a break here, but I wanted to ask you very quickly. It doesn't seem that they're going to be able to stop the construction of the dam, right? And I was a little disturbed to see that the Ethiopians had actually put air defense weapons around the dam recently in kind of preparation for what they thought might be a conflict with either Egypt or Sudan, probably to a lesser extent. It seems that the dam is going to be built. What would you like to be able to tell the American people or tell the world needs to be done to make it be fair and equitable and ensure that the Egyptian people get the water that they need?
I just want to tell everybody one thing. Please tell Ethiopia and tell Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister, Nobel Prize winner, to make engineers tell the Egyptians that this dam is not going to harm them, and accept that this river, who flows for 1,000 years between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt, is an international river. It's ours, and it's not only yours. And our life depends on that. And please, we can live all together. We can make a big project all together, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, and know-how with America, and we can make a big agriculture project, because the River Nile, for you guys, represents 10% of the water you have between the rain, lake, river. For us, the River Nile is 100% of what we have. Please don't push us for war. Let's work together. Let's have a big agriculture project who can feed us all together.
Mustafa, I'm going to interrupt you very quickly. We understand this. We understand the water problem, and we want our listeners to listen. Can you just really quickly, you got about 30 seconds. I think the hands of the CCP are in on this. They came to Ethiopia. They built a dam without any consultation with the Egyptians, the Sudanese, anybody else. So the Chinese Communist Party, I see here as a black hand stirring up trouble amongst nations that really shouldn't have an argument. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't want to even think that this will happen, that we will reach that. I hope that America interferes. America has a big role. We went to America. We stayed 6 months negotiating in America between Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia, and we came to a deal. Let's have a deal. Push for a deal, because a war in this area will infect everywhere. Look at what's happening in Libya now. It's almost war. We voted in Egyptian parliament to send, for the first time in thousands of years, our troops outside of Egypt to save Libya, because the parliament in Libya asked the Egyptian army to come there. We don't want a third world war to come in this heart of the world. Please, America, please, Europe.
Mustafa,
please,
we have to go to a break, but I think you really told our audience a lot about this, and I appreciate it. Egypt, a wonderful country. They're providing stability for the region, and this is something we all need to pay attention to. The new dam going up in Ethiopia, which could restrict water supplies for the entire nation of Egypt.
Yeah, the Honorable Mustafa Al-Gindi, member of the Egyptian and African Parliament. Thank you for joining us here on War Room Pandemic. We'll be right back with more Governor Greitens, Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam. Stay tuned.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now. Introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy on, easy off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy on, easy off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my expectations.
Our most powerful copper-infused fabric, woven into our easy-on, easy-off compression sock to help reduce swelling discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I'm 38 and a half weeks pregnant. Copperfit Energy Socks worked beautifully.
Extra support around the arch and ankles for increased support and relief of muscle aches and pains.
I'm so excited about these socks. I'm so much more energized to go do things after a day of work. They just slip right on, yet they still have that same compression that you want.
A soft cushion footbed for all-day comfort.
I'm on my feet at least 9 to 10 hours a day. These were fantastic. A lot of compression socks are a little too thin, especially for what I do. With Copperfit, I could wear these every day.
Feel more energized. Feel more active. Just feel better.
They just hug your leg. It relieves all the pressure that you have. I have so much energy, I can go, hey, you want to dance?
The first ever easy on, easy off compression sock. The most comfortable compression sock you will ever wear. Get your Copperfit Energy Socks now online at GetEnergySocks.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-978-1224. Order right now and we'll include a second pair of compression socks free.
I've never felt anything like it before.
No more pain, no more swelling, no more achy, tired feet.
I can never go back to regular compression socks again.
Don't settle for ordinary. Ask for the original by name, Copperfit Energy Socks.
Windshields are impossible to clean, and a dirty windshield can be downright dangerous. Introducing the Hurricane Windshield Wizard, the one tool that reaches and cleans for you. It uses the power of microfiber with a pivoting head to make cleaning windshields quick and easy. The specially designed ergonomic handle fills with tap water and dispenses at the touch of a button, so you can clean in seconds without straining. And it folds away for space-saving storage. Order now and get the Hurricane Windshield Wizard with free extra bonnet for just $19.99. But order now and you can double the offer. Plus, you can also get the Battle Visor, the visor that blocks the harsh glaring sun and keeps you safe on the road. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll ship everything to you for free. That means you can get all this and free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-474-7530 or visit getwindshieldwizard.com. So call 1-800-474-7530 now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
So $6 trillion already spent on this COVID-19 crisis, the national debt up to $26 trillion. What impact do you think that's going to have on the value of the dollar? Who's paying for it all? If you don't think we're sitting on a house of cards, you're living with your head in the sand. Now stocks have soared to some of their highest valuations ever. Don't wait for the bottom to fall out. It's time to protect your savings, including your IRA or 401k. The company we trust with precious metals purchases is Birch Gold Group, sponsor of the War Room Pandemic. And right now, thanks to a little-known IRS tax law, you can even move your IRA to an eligible 401k move your IRA or eligible 401k to an IRA backed by physical gold and silver. It's perfect for those who want to protect their hard-earned retirement savings from any more downturns in stock. So contact Birch Gold Group to request a free info kit on physical precious metals. See if diversifying into gold and silver makes sense for you. It's no cost and no obligation. You text Bannon, B-A-N-N-O-N, Bannon, to 474747. For a limited time, you can also see how you can qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals on your purchase. So text Bannon to 474747, and the cough from Jax Maxey comes for free. Now I want to get back into some of this, but we've got some breaking news as well here. And by the way, for the skeptics out there as to whether or not we even care about the sponsors out there, I am a physical precious metals guy. I firmly believe in it. It's not just something we're trying to flog you guys. I am all about the gold right now. I want to get into something else that we're all about on this show as well. It appears that Secretary of State Pompeo is going to, effectively use one of the War Room lines that we've been using for months and months now, urging the Chinese people, I'm reading this off my phone, by the way, urging the Chinese people to change the Chinese Communist Party. This is a story that's coming out on the Wall Street Journal this morning, which is why I have to read it on my phone, because for some reason their paywall doesn't work across two devices. I loathe paywall sites. I really do. It's so annoying to me. But we have got this article up in front of us, and it looks like Secretary of State Pompeo is going to talk about Xi Jinping being a, quote, true believer in a bankrupt totalitarian ideology. So this is the speech that he's due to give later on today, and it looks like it is going to be a barnstormer. So don't miss it. We'll be paying very close attention.
One of the great comments that's released already that he's going to say is, he says, the Communist Party fears the Chinese people's honest opinions more than any foreign foe. This is what we talk about on this show. When we talk about energizing the Chinese people, Pompeo is parroting this show. We are in opposition to the Communist Party of China. We actually have the 6 of the regular deplorables of continental China, because they're just like you deplorables out there listening to this show. They want to have a good family life. They want to be able to go to church and worship the God that they want. They want to be able to go on the internet and see information that they want to see, not information that is defined for them. So I think it's really wonderful that Pompeo is showing in a public speech that the reality is that the people of China need to be freed, and they are the greatest enemy to the CCP.
Governor Greitens.
Yeah, look, he's putting his finger on what is one of the great fears of the Chinese regime, is that information is going to flow freely, that people can access information all over the world and that they can form their own opinions, that they could elect their own leaders. This is one of their great fears, and so he's putting his finger on it, I think, in a powerful way, and I'm glad to see he's doing that.
We've got about 2 minutes left here, and I just wanted to get your conclusions on the previous segments, or rather the segment before last, when you were talking about. And by the way, how come whenever you guys mention a story, it starts in a pizza place, right? You did this the other day as well at DuPont Circle, right? Have you got some deal going on, Jack? Because I want a slice.
Listen, if it's a pizza deal, it's not one of the Democrat deals. I was just actually having a pizza.
Whoa. Jack Maxey with the... I thought it was Stephen Q. Bannon, not Jack Hugh Maxey. All right, a very serious topic, of course, but I want to get your concluding thoughts on that. You've got about 2 minutes here. Governor Greitens.
Look, this is a tragedy that is playing out across the country. People are losing their sons and daughters. People are being killed. And the reason for it is not just because of the ludicrous liberal leftist logic of defunding the police and attacking our police officers. It is also a problem of the complicity and the cowardice of people who are unwilling to stand up against them.
You support what the president's doing now, what Attorney General Bill Barr is doing now, but what are the further action steps that need to be taken here?
Well, look, what they're doing is good. At the end of the day, people need to recognize that the responsibility for this falls on governors. The governor has the ability to bring out the state highway patrol, to bring out the National Guard, to bring local police chiefs together, to use those federal resources. The president is having to come in and do what he can with federal resources. You have to have governors who are willing to stand up. Governors can put an end to this.
And what if they're not?
And when the governors aren't willing to stand up, you need to have the people of those states, the people of the United States, who actually hold them to account. It's going to have to be people who are standing up, raising their voices, because you see how this kind of leftist culture, you stand up and you say that you support the police. You put it out on Facebook and people turn and attack you. This is going to come down to courage. And people are going to have to stand up and say that they support the police and that they want to see their governors get behind the police and enforce the rule of law.
You're obviously a very busy man. Just tell the audience where they can find more from you. Have you got social media?
Yeah, please go out to like us on Facebook on the Eric Greitens page. That's Greitens, or you can go out to ericgreitens.com. Again, Greitens, and I would love to have folks on Facebook.
Are you tweeting at all?
Well, we do tweet.
You do Parler? Are you parlaying?
We are.
Can we get you on Parler?
So
are you on Parler?
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Parler.
Fantastic. Yes. Governor Greitens, we're really grateful to have had you in studio.
Raheem. Great to be on
Well,
with
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, don't forget, one of the great sponsors of this show is NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in sales, NetSuite lets you manage every penny with precision. You have the agility to compete with anyone from anywhere with NetSuite by Oracle. So join over 20,000 companies who trust NetSuite to make it happen for them. You can get your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/Bannon. That's netsuite.com/Bannon. It's been another heck of a show, a couple of shows this morning in the War Room, and we're really grateful for our guests, all of our guests, Mustafa Al-Kindi, Jack Posobiec, Governor Greitens, and Jack Maxey. Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts are keep Zev Zelenko in your prayers. He's under the knife right now. He's a great American, and he could use your thoughts.
That's absolutely correct. We're all going to be doing that today, and make sure you tune in to the Secretary of State's speech today. It's going to be good. I promise you that. War Room Pandemic returns tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Jack Maxey, Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon. We'll see you then.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan.